Let's move on over for a hypothetical topic too. Let's talk about Monday Night Raw. Taz? Yes, I digress. Which, let's talk about shenanigans right off the bat as Lady brings up Matthew and Botchamania. Alright, so we talked about the shenanigans at the end of last topic with NXT. Matthew. So I don't know, if you guys watch Botchamania, you're going to love this. If you don't, you should watch Botchamania. It's funny. It's very entertaining. So we saw some shenanigans before Monday Night Raw. Did the same thing. We got there a little early in hopes of getting better tickets. Did not move us up or anything like that. So they must have sold those tickets for night 2. Very crowded in comparison to what NXT was. It was like swimming through an ocean of people to try and navigate places. Merch line was hella long. Your typical merch there that you can see on the shop all the time. There was one shirt that I kind of regret now not getting, that I didn't even know was there until later in the show, but they did have a Colorado Avalanche cross Jey Uso YEET shirt. But that line was huge. So we get to the arena. We sit down. We still got time to chill. We did have main event tapings, which we'll get to in a moment here. But the shenanigans. All right, so sitting where we were, we look over to the staging area, the actual stage, and we see some people coming out of the entrance. I'm like, what is that? Apparently some VIP people got a whole little backstage tour or whatever. So I saw them come out onto the stage. We saw them walk around, go right up to the ring. The kids that were with them like sat on the edge of the ring. I don't think they went in it at all, but they went to the commentary table. And then they ended up sitting front row, I believe, on camera side. So it was like, wonder how much that was. That would be cool to do once. But that was pretty neat. We did see, speaking of Matthew and Botchamania, so Signs have been making a comeback more and more as the popularity's grown. And we saw this one gentleman with the Michael Cole Botchamania cartoon poster. You might have seen it at the beginning when Rhea makes her entrance at the beginning of the show. But Lady and I just got a huge chuckle out of that, seeing that. Fortunately, Cole was not on the show, but it was a nice little thing to see. I'm trying to think if there was anything else beforehand in terms of just weird stuff that happened. I don't think there was. So let's get into main event. So we did have Alicia Taylor also as ring announcer here instead of Samantha Irvin. I don't know if this is part of the rearranging that they're doing with the networks, with Raw going to Netflix, with SmackDown coming to USA, and then NXT going to CW. As we would get the debut of Joe Tessitore, I think that's his name, making his commentary debut with Wade Barrett on Monday Night Raw. I don't know if Alicia was filling in for Samantha with travel from Berlin or whatever it was, or if she's going to be the full-time Monday Night Raw announcer. I didn't see anything online. Maybe they talked about that on the TV program. Who knows? But she came out. We did the main event tapings. We did 2 matches. We did Dante Chen versus Skyler. This is how well I know the guy, because he's not really around. Hold on. That's the Rascals photos. Skylar Clinton. No idea. So Dante Chen versus Skylar Clinton. Not too bad. I was excited to see Dante. Dante's kind of blown up a little bit on NXT. He's been off TV recently. But that was just fun. That was a nice, fun surprise. So we got them. Dante Chen would pick up the win overall. And then the next match was Malik Blade against Chase Hughes, Riley Osborne. Another fun match there. Riley would pick up the win after a giant shooting star press from him. So solid main event matches throughout. A little bit of a sad face that we didn't get to see somebody else, but we'll talk about that later. So we get into the main show of Monday Night Raw. So Rhea comes out. Well, actually, the announcers come out before that. Wade Barrett, great, cool to see him. He's got his old music, the Boom thing. He was being goofy as well. And then we had Joe Tessitore come out, which me hearing clips of his commentary, it didn't seem too bad. I've heard like mostly good things and then some like just nitpicky here and there. I was hoping, because he had signed a few months ago, if I'm not wrong, I was hoping this whole time he had been kind of like practicing, getting used to the job. Whether it was working with Michael Cole or working with somebody else, just going over like, hey, we're going to watch footage here, let's commentate over it. Or doing main event tapings or whatever it was. Use this time to obviously prep, because it is it's not as easy as people think it is, of just go out there and talk. I mean, yes, essentially that's part of it, but you need to cover, the storylines, recap for people, know the ins and outs of what they're doing, the moves, yada, 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 promote stuff. So there's a bit of a work that goes into it, and we've seen people flop here that come from outside in the Vince era of like, hey, we're just going to throw you in there to the Sharks, good luck. R.I.P. and Adnan Virk, Jimmy Smith, Kev Egan. No, what was his name? Kevin Patrick? Kevin Patrick. Which, some of them did better than others. Adnan really never got too much traction. I thought Jimmy Smith was fine. I really liked Kevin Patrick, but I know people hated him. But anyways, so I digress again. Matthew, sorry. So he came out, had some t-shirts when he initially came out, and then Wade did the introduction at the show to get him introduced to the audience. Papa Griffin Chat says, I know it was Joe's first day, but he can't be reading straight off his monitor. Not going to fly. Oh, did he sound very robotic? Okay. Yeah, I mean, first night. But hopefully with time, those things will, the kinks will work out. So officially starting the show, Rhea did come out. Did a little promo about Bash in Berlin. The Berlin. And then Dirty Dom came out, grabbed the mic. Now, we have rewatched a little bit of Monday Night Raw, thanks to Hulu, even though it's edited. We did rewatch the opening segment. They pull some bullshit TV magic here. Obviously, the microphones are there to, capture their promos. I can see why the internet feels like people don't react. TV captures the audience horribly, I feel. Or, obviously, they're just audio leveling so you hear the superstars through the microphones better. Makes sense. You could hear Dom crystal clear from the TV broadcast, what he was saying. Oh, Liv's hurt, and she's recovering from Berlin, and blah, blah, blah. I have a mustache. I hate you, whatever. In the arena, it was deafening how loud we were all booing Dominick Mysterio.
I didn't hear a single word that he said.
We didn't hear any of the promo. Everybody shut up when Rhea was talking. We could hear her perfectly fine. Dom immediately, as he picked up that microphone, just everybody hated him. The "you suck" chants. There was "shave your mustache" chants later. We couldn't hear anything he said, which I really appreciated because that's a fun part of the show, obviously. But yeah, that does not come through as well from a TV perspective. So that was a little sad. I think there was about 7,000 people there. Maybe that was NXT. But doesn't matter. It was loud as hell. So they do their promo. Liv comes out, tries to get a cheap shot on Rhea. Rhea able to kind of pick up on what was happening, defends herself, but then gets caught up leaving the ring and gets her ankle twisted in the ropes. Don't know if that was meant to happen. It certainly didn't seem it, as Dom went like, ooh, and tried to help her for a moment. I was like, wait, I'm a bad guy. But they both beat up Rhea. Well, Liv beats up Rhea as Dom kind of yells at her. Priest comes out, makes the save. We all go, yay! And they head to the back. We see Rhea in the back kind of selling the ankle injury as Priest is going to go get a match afterwards. So then we had our opening match. We had American Made, which was the Creed brothers and Ivy Nile going against Alpha Academy, Otis Tozawa, and Maxine Dupree. Not too bad. Crowd was into this one as well. Granted, it is the opener, so your energy is there. I've been impressed with the Creeds for a while. And I think that continues here. But we had a good showing from Otis and Tozawa, and surprisingly, Maxine is killing it. Doesn't seem like that long ago she was kind of struggling, but it seems like she's been putting in the work, and it was good to see her little interaction with Ivy Nile. Yes.
I really shit on Maxine real hard for
Same.
quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
She's much better now.
Yeah, she did a great job. She had that pump knee to Ivy, which obviously helps the Ivy shorter. That fisherman suplex into that kip up. I still don't like the inverted caterpillar that she does. I think that's a little silly, but doesn't matter. But I thought they did a great job. American Made would pick up the win here after the Dragon Sleeper from Ivy onto Dupree after she kicked Chad Gable off the edge. And then we had American Made, calling out the Wyatt Six. So we got to see the Spookies. We were all excited to see the Spookies. It was not spooky. It comes through much better on television. It was bright as hell in there. They were pumping smoke, obviously, up front, where he's going to come out from Gorilla on stage. But yeah, everybody's got their phones out, which, granted, that's not going to light up the arena as much as it was lit.
I was expecting to not be able to see my hand in front of my face, and that's what I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was bright as hell.
Yeah, it was very bright. So it didn't have the same allure and effect, unfortunately. Like, I feel like Julia's surprise entrance in NXT No Mercy was way darker than the Wyatt Six coming out. I will say it was still cool to see the remainder of the Wyatt Six family join Uncle Howdy from behind. That was a cool visual. But yeah, just a promo. I didn't really understand Howdy all too much. I don't know if that was just the cryptic manner of the promo or if it was the audience once again. But they set up they had set up a match. I think it's supposed to be an 8-man street fight next week in Canada. So yeah, just building up. Next we had Shayna Baszler going against Zelina Vega. A little bit of a downturn in energy here because the Pure Fusion Collective.
It was ass.
Well, I don't know if it was ass, but it was, yeah.
It was ass.
Zelina did have a nice heartfelt moment with some fans. One specifically had a sign about her father. Crowd was pretty behind Zelina. Granted, it's hard not...
Shayna's such a...
It's hard not to be when you got Pure Fusion Collective. Take your shot on the other side. But yeah, Shayna picked up the win here. So after the match, Zelina's getting her shit kicked in, and then it happened. Lyra Valkyria comes for the save. Lady and I, whoa, huge pop. We wanted to see Lyra. We wanted to go woo for her entrance. She goes, I'm a bird person. Slides in the ring, gets her ass whooped. We're like,
immediately. Her song didn't even play long enough for us to woo.
No. Nothing. So we got to see her, small up. We got to see her get beat, big down. So Pure Fusion Collective, take your shot. No men can take us home. Duh. We're not straight. Some of us. I don't really, doesn't really matter. And then no women can beat us. Okay, cool. Take your shot. Shoot your shot. Whatever the slogan is. Slogan. So yeah, Valkyria tried to make the save. It did not work out. Later on, we did see a vignette or promo rather in the back with Zelina and Lyra, both sick of Pure Fusion Collective. I hate how they're beating everybody up. We're gonna get back up. Now me, in my pea-brain mind, was like, oh, Lyra says she's got friends. She's got a good relationship with one Becky Lynch. Maybe Becky's gonna come back. And I'm like, you know what? Is this big enough for Becky to come back too? Like, oh, just a regular Monday Night Raw. Beat up Shayna again. No. And then, yes, as Papa Griff points out in chat, they're in Alberta, Canada next week. So, Natalia. Yeah. It seems like Natty would be the obvious choice. I don't know who else it could be. Okay. It makes no sense in terms of Canada, but Lady and I were talking about it on the show because in comparison to NXT No Mercy, where it was boom, 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 you know, not a lot of fluff. You get the vignettes of like, this is their story in between matches. At Monday Night Raw, obviously, you got commercial breaks you got to worry about. So they do the like, show your sign, the DX suck it cam, and then like other just random like extra programming that they have in between.
Suck it,
The
Cam.
suck it cam. And they're like, oh, we're PG, don't do that. And you're like, what do you mean you're doing a suck it cam?
I know! That was crazy.
But they do like their peripheral, I think that's what it's called. I don't know. The extra content of like, oh, maybe it's a clip from Stone Cold's podcast or something from the network. Well, they had one where they're asking superstars about something. We saw Raquel Rodriguez, or is she Raquel Gonzalez now? No, Rodriguez, I think. And we're like, oh yeah, where's she? So it has nothing to do with Canada, but I'd love to see Raquel back. Lyra doesn't really have a history with Raquel, so that doesn't really add up.
That'd be cool, though.
It would be cool though, but yeah, it seems like it's gonna be Natalia. Yeah. Unless we randomly get Trish Stratus back, I don't fucking know. Well, but Canada, I'm just thinking of a better Canadian. Natalia, or a more exciting. You've only seen Trish be a bad guy, so
That's true.
that's fair. Anyways, moving on. After all that, oh, I forgot to tell Lady this, and this kind of ties into the segment. It was CM Punk. CM Punk was at the grocery store this morning.
In a grocery store.
Yeah, it was on the radio. It was like, oh shit, Punk!
Oh.
In my eyes, what do you see? Anyways.
I sat down with my arms crossed.
Yeah, Lady was not a
I'm
fan.
not having it.
So Punk comes out, he's like, yay, we won at Bash in Berlin, strap match. Which actually was a good match. But he's all happy he won. He's going to be like, now he's going to focus on the world title. Calls out Gunther a little bit. Crowd was loving it. Crowd was very behind. Well, 99.8% of the crowd was behind it. And then he's done with his promo, and I don't remember how he got to the outside. Was he just like fist bumping Joe and Wade? I don't remember.
Yeah,
But
he
then,
was just like walking around talking to the audience.
was he just high-fiving and shit?
I think so.
Oh, okay. And then a mysterious man in a hoodie shows up, and Joe Tessitore goes, that's Drew McIntyre in a hoodie. And we're like, that's right! He no-sold it.
Other commentators are like, who is that? Like, that's Drew McIntyre. Thank you.
So Drew comes out, beats the shit out of him. At one point, he claymores him out of one of his Nikes, his Jordans. And then he takes the bracelet, breaks it, shoves it into Punk's mouth. Apparently, it was laced with poison because Punk had to get on a stretcher to go to the local medical facility, where Drew would then attack him again on the stretcher. But, the bracelet is out of the picture, which people were kind of having the hang up about. But we'll see. So, there's that. Papa Griff. Yeah, that's bullshit. Call out Gunther from 10 years off. I'd love to see him get chopped to shreds. I mean, yes, that would be funny to see him get chopped. I mean, ideally, what is supposed to be your goal? I want to be world champion. So I get it. Like, everybody should be gunning for that title. So I'm not like, ooh, that he was challenging there or calling him out. It makes sense. But yeah, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Then we got the most exciting match of the night. Well, one of them. We got some more of our favorites that we got to see. We got to see the first triple threat for the Intercontinental number 1 contenders match. We got to see Ilya Dragunov going against Dragon Lee and 30 Dom Mysterio. Surprisingly, very good reactions for Ilya and Dragon Lee, which I appreciated. I didn't want it to be one of these audiences that didn't react to all. And I'm like, where's the respect? But I think it helped that there was the combo tickets, and a lot of people did go to NXT No Mercy perhaps the night before. So we had a lot of fanfare for Ilya. We had a lot of fanfare for Dragon Lee. We were fighting off Dirty Dom a few times. There was that chain of German suplex where Dragunov German suplex both Dominick and Dragon Lee. We got to see At one point, Carlito did try to interfere to take out Dragon Lee. Priest would come out to even odds, chase off Dirty Dom. So then we got a one-on-one with Dragunov and Dragon Lee, which was great. Another unfortunate little botch there with the tilt-a-whirl that got out of control. I don't know if it was too fast or whatever it was. But they did reset. Ilya would hit the Torpedo Moscow at the end here and pick up the win and move on to the finals, that fatal four-way next week for the IC Championship, number one contender. So that was very fun to see. Then we had the women's tag team champions come out. Now, it was promoted as a tag team celebration. Did they celebrate? Did they do anything? No! Jade went, Bianca went, whip, whip, whip. And then they sat down in chairs. They were just there to watch. We had the Unholy Union go against Damage Control for the number one contendership match there. I thought this one was good. I mean, I personally like all four participants. People like Damage Control. That's good. Kyrie. At one point, Isla gets knocked out of the ring. Kyrie decides, fuck it, I'm going to go up top and hit my elbow thingy. Jumps outside. Isla takes Bianca, pulls her in the way. Thank God she did. Kyrie overjumps. Bianca, being super strong Bianca, resets. Somehow catches the back of her shirt enough so Kyrie doesn't splat fully on the table. But because Kyrie overjumped, Kyrie overshoots Bianca, smacks her face on the edge of the announce table, busting open her eye. She's bleeding from the eye. The match continues. Unholy Union would capitalize later on, hitting that gory bomb facebuster combo that they do. So Unholy Union is number one contenders. This match was good, but this match had a lot that was wrong with it. First, obviously, Kyrie busting open her face. Now, second, I get it. You want more dynamics of like, oh, all the teams are vying for the titles, and you can keep Damage Control in the picture by getting in the face, not on purpose, of Bianca and Jade. But Jade upset. Okay, here's how it played out. Jade's upset because Kyrie hit Bianca, who was sitting innocently in her chair. So Kyrie, after recovering from the table spot, Jade goes, yeah, bitch, or whatever she said, and just goes and punches her right in the face while the ref's staring at her outside going, hey, get back in the ring. No DQ. What the fuck? I know some people online are defending it like, well, Kyrie wasn't the legal participant. Okay, I can't pull a specific example out of my ass here of like, when has that mattered? It seems like any interference outside of the participants in the match usually ends up in a DQ, but we're just going to completely ignore that. But anyways, Unholy Union would eventually win. They are number one contenders. We'd get a little bit of a face-off from Damage Control and Bianca and Jade at the end due to, obviously, what had happened in the ring. So I think this is going to be a simple, eventual rematch, and then Bianca and Jade retain, and we can get Damage Control in here, and perhaps they can win it back. We'll have to see. But Io very popular, Kyrie pretty popular. Hopefully Kyrie's okay. I did see she has some stitches on her eyelid, which seems nasty. But maybe she'll actually wear her eye patch now and do a pirate gimmick. Then we had the champion Gunther coming out, and he's all like, hey, Denver sucks, even though we were chanting for him. And he's like, you guys...
Everybody was cheering for him, and then he's like, you guys fucking suck.
We were all steezed.
Okay.
On Gunther, and he's like, you guys are degenerates, and we're like, oh, all right. And then, yeah, during this whole promo, Lady's like, so why is he out here? I'm like, well, he did just beat Orton. This is the show after the pay-per-view. Usually this is a big setup thing, and I'm like, yeah, I don't know who would be next in line for Gunther. Like, I don't know who's available. And then all of a sudden, Sami Zayn comes out. Huge pop there. We're all very excited for Sami. I've seen some people not online not happy for Sami, and I'm like, what are you talking about? But seems like Sami will be the next program for Gunther, which would be another solid solid match. Obviously, they got history with the IC title and Sammy winning the belt from him at Mania, so we get to run that back. But as of right now, Gunther said no to the challenge. Time will tell. Next, we did have our IC number 1 contenders match number 2. Now, a little part I forgot here. So, sad face. Bronson Reed, unfortunately, not able to compete. He did tweet out earlier in the day just simply ugh, and then reports came out later that he had COVID. He was supposed to be in this triple threat. We wanted to see the big, thick boy. He's been on a tear lately, tsunamiing people. He took Seth Rollins out. He took R-Truth out. He tsunamied Braun Strowman through a fucking car last week. Well, apparently, this one big son of a bitch don't care. So, Adam Pearce earlier was like, we're going to find a spot. Now, this is where the internet goes crazy. And we're all going crazy. We're like, oh, an empty spot. Holy shit, we got to call an audible. Did the NXT people go home? Did Joe Hendry go back to TNA? Who's in Denver? So we're all freaking out. And me, I'm like, well, Trick and Pete have problems. Maybe Trick Willie can pop in this match. Joe Hendry's not doing anything. Maybe he can pop in this match. Just throw it in. Just fucking, he's in town. Just throw somebody in. Make it exciting. No. Instead, we do probably the worst option. And not really. Braun's fine. It's just, in terms of excitement level, the worst option. Wasn't Shane O'Mac. I guess we, could have had it worse. Braun Strowman says, bruh, my ribs hurt, but medical says I can go if I want to go. And Braun goes in there. So it's Braun Strowman against Sheamus, against Ludwig Kaiser. Sheamus and Ludwig, they got beef already, so they start fighting immediately. Braun's like, oh, well, all right, I'm here in the ring. He goes choo-choo, runs around the ring. I believe Ludwig got out of the way. Whoop! And Braun went, oh shit, and went through the barricade. He's out there taking a nap. Ludwig and Sheamus hit each other real hard. We all go, ouch, that hurts. Braun gets back. Oh no. Sheamus incapacitated outside at the stairs. Ludwig's like, okay, I'm going to smash his brains like it did Giovanni Vinci. So he goes out. He does his choo-choo. But while he's running, all of a sudden, wheelie chair. Nails Ludwig in the face. Strowman's back up. He gets back in it. Match continues. At some point, looks like Sheamus is in control. And then guess what? Peyton makes it in. Drags out Sheamus. Hits him. Whacks him in the back with a giant shillelagh. Their rivalry is going to continue. Strowman takes advantage. Picks up Kaiser. Power slams his ass. And Strowman is now in the finals for the number 1 contenders IC tournament. So, I will say, I like that we pivoted. I like that we still have this flexibility where we're not like, oh, fuck, everything's broken. I like that we can pivot. And I think this is the most story cohesive pivot that we could do. Here's my thought of what things were going to happen. Okay, Big Bronson Reed in this match. We continued the same thing with Sheamus and Ludwig. They got history. That all makes sense. Bronson was going to win this match. Reed was going to go on to the IC title picture, or at least, that number 1 contenders match. It seems like people have Jay winning, as we would see later with a promo between Braun Breaker and Jay. Seems like that's going to be the matchup. I think Strowman, being fucking tsunamied through a car, was going to be off TV for a week. He was going to somehow get involved, perhaps, in the Fatal 4-Way, costing Reed. Then they could fulfill their program, continue that. I think all we're doing is taking Part A, Part B, or Participant A and B, and just going scoop and flipping them. As long as Bronson Reed can recover from COVID in time, granted, I know COVID's not as harsh as it was. If he's able to recover for next week, I think we just flip the moving pieces. So Strowman's in the Fatal 4-Way. Reed pissed off, costs him because Strowman took his spot. Makes sense. And then we can continue the program from there. Time will tell. Hopefully Bronson can recover and he's A-okay. If not, we can put this on hold and pick it back up when he's good to go and healthy. So, while not the most exciting audible that we could have called, it makes sense. So, Braun Strowman, moving on to that. Now, I forgot to tell this whole narrative because this recap does not show all the promos, and I'm going off of memory here, so I do apologize. So the whole time, obviously Rhea's hurt. Oh no, my ankle. Priest pissed off. He's going to go get a match from Adam Pearce with somebody from the Judgment Day. He runs off Carlito and Dominick from the earlier triple threat. And Pearce says, okay, yeah, you can have a match, but it's a tag team match. JD and Finn against Damian and whoever. So Damian's got to find a partner. Rhea says she knows somebody. Okay, cool. Get back to me on what they say. So we get a promo earlier. Priest asking Rhea, did you get your answer? No, he didn't say yes, but he said yeet. Crowd was all over this. They were, for lack of a better term, they were thirsty for Jey Uso in this arena. The whole time, me, old man, yelling at Cloud, there's not going to be a Jey Uso match tonight. He's already in the number 1 contenders match. He doesn't need to wrestle this week. Everybody shut the fuck up. I wanted to see Jay because it's always fun to, yeet up and down, but I was like, it's not happening. But guess what? He wanted to fight. And he can't say no to mommy. So main event, we had Damian Priest and Jey Uso going against Finn Balor and bobblehead JD McDonough. It was a fun match. Crowd was very invested in it. People were like, oh, Jey Uso is going to come down these stairs. No, he's not, you dumbasses. He's going to come out from the the entranceway. But huge ovation for Jey. Everybody was yeeting the whole night, pre-show, post-show, everything. Had a blast there. Finn starts the match, immediately runs out because he doesn't want to fight Damian. So JD McDonough comes in. It's oh boy. Match is going on. We did go to commercial at some point. Very funny chants from the crowd. We were chanting bobblehead at JD McDonough. Some of the crowd was chanting later on Lord Farquaad from Shrek at JD McDonough. Finn was biting into it the whole time, yelling at the crowd, telling them to shut up. Just a fun match throughout. At one point, Jay did the dive over the rope with an assist from Priest. Priest did hit Razor's Edge onto, I believe, JD, and then Jay would hit a splash. So the good guys would win. Liv Morgan would interfere at one point to stop Uso, but Rhea would come out with the crutch. She kind of still sold the injury, but was like, I'm okay enough to not use the crutch, and smacked Liv a little bit. But good guys would prevail. Rhea would yeet afterwards on one leg, hopping around. And then after the show went off the air, Priest finally did it as well. So we got to see all three of them. But it was a good time. So overall, Monday Night Raw was a lot of fun. I was a little worried going into it, just being like, oh, we're just coming off a pay-per-view. It's going to be a lot of build. But I will say I think this was a great show overall. I think it helped that we have kind of these narratives that are continuing outside of the pay-per-views. For example, the IC program and the tournament that's going on there. I think that added a lot of excitement going into it, where obviously the ball's already rolling there. So there was some more exciting things to anticipate. And then we did still get a lot of build, obviously the Sammy Gunther stuff, the next stage of Punk and McIntyre, the women's tag stuff. So we are continuously building, but it felt more interesting than I feel like Fallout shows after pay-per-views have been. Like, I think the last Raw, maybe the last Raw we went to, was the show after Survivor Series, and that one felt like, yep, we're building blocks here. Like, it was still fun to go to. There just wasn't a lot of...
I think that was the SmackDown.
Was it the SmackDown?
I don't know.
Well, one of the...
I should've talked, 'cause I don't know.
Oh, you're fine. You're fine. One of the recent shows we went to was just like, yeah, this feels like, not filler, but like, we got to get the momentum going again. And this one felt good overall. Didn't feel like that. So we had a lot of fun with that. Yeah, had a blast overall. Denver crowd crushed it. Like I said, a little sad that it didn't translate through the television all that much. In terms of people we wanted to see, I'd say we got a decent amount of those participants we did want to see. Obviously, Lyra, we did want to woo at the entrance to be the only two to do that, or at least see how much of a reaction she got. No return from Seth freaking Rollins, but obviously he's enjoying his time, spending time with his family, and with Bronson Reed not being back and the Strowman story being perhaps the forefront right now, that makes sense. Dragunov was great. Lee was great. Hopefully they can continue their string of momentum themselves. I know Dragon Lee has been kind of a little bit MIA since the previous week's Monday Night Raw. So hopefully we can get the momentum back on him. Dragunov, even in losing, good to see he's got some popularity behind him. Obviously he won't be next for Gunther, but that match is always on the horizon. I know they were working some house shows over in Germany and slapping the shit out of each other. So it's there. It's just a matter of when do they want to pull the trigger in terms of pay-per-view. When do they want to commit to that? Yeah, I think that's everything. Lady, anything you can think of that I might be forgetting from our fun wrestling adventures? No. All right. Cool. Appreciate it. Yeah. So we had a blast with this quick weekend trip out to Denver to see some wrestling. Like I said, it already has me thinking about what's next, which calm down. And yeah, I'll just say this: New York, you gotta step up because the crowd over there was way better. Granted, it's a bigger stadium and stuff, but whatever. Anyways. This has been another episode of The Wait, where we talk about podcasts. My name is Bret, aka Enigma9011, and you can catch the podcast live over on twitch.tv/Enigma9011. You can drop a follow over there. You'll get notified when we go live, so you join in the fun and conversation with us, just like Papa Griff did today. If you can't catch it live, that's A-OK. Go over to YouTube and podcast services the very next week, where it's broken out topic by topic and put as one big video and MP3 for your amusement on the following Friday. Last but not least, any way you can support the show, likes, shares, subs, whatever it is. If you take the time to do that, it may seem small, but it does really help. So if you take the time to do that, we'd love and appreciate you for it. Oh boy, repeating words. It's fine. It's only 8:30. Thank you guys so much for hanging out today, giving this a watch, giving it a listen, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Take care.